Would Elden Ring curved swords work in real life? I've covered these before, but all the weapons weren't out yet that I could find, so I'm gonna cover them all again. Here's my puppy as an apology, if that bothers you. My other dog is barking. The scimitar does, look kind of like a sword that you would imagine a scimitar is, but the term scimitar itself historically just means non-European curved sword, which, as you can imagine, describes a lot of swords. So it's both super vague and a little The sword itself looks fine. It looks a bit like a cross between a shamshir and a eclipse, although it doesn't have the end curving on the pommel, which helps keep it in the hand. So it's not exactly a one-for-one with anything from history. The falchion, that's a European curved sword, they had some that looked pretty much like that, so yeah, it would work as a sword. It would work as a sword. It would work. It would work. The shamshir? They're not even... That looks nothing like a shamshir. I mean, sure, if it's a blade, it could function as a sword, but that just looks nothing like what it's named as. Just call the scimitar a shamshir and call this one a tree blade or something, and then you'd be pretty good. The grossmesser looks kind of like a cross between a actual grossmesser and a eclipse. It's a bit wider than either of those, so it might be a bit unwieldy, but still likely within usable ranges. The bandit's curved sword also looks like a shamshir, so it would work. The shotel was an African sword that specialized in getting around shields, and you could also cut things with it. Really cool sword. The scavenger's curved sword obviously has an improvised look about it, so it wouldn't be in the best repair, but it would be better than no sword. The Mantis Blade, I've talked about bug chitin in so far 2 of my videos, and this will be the 3rd. It can be quite tough and is about 16% the density of steel, so something this large would be surprisingly light. And bugs are historically good at making their own weaponry, so this could be a solid weapon, if it existed in real life. The beastman's curved sword is definitely a little extra. Being all steel, it would be rather heavy, but a lot of that weight would be around your hand, so it might be relatively nimble. I don't like that bottom curved going into where your arm might be, depending on which cuts you're throwing. But there are some Indian weapons that limit wrist movement, so maybe this is like an extreme version of that, where you can't move your wrist or you'll get stabbed by yourself. The flowing curved sword reminds me a lot of some swords that you can find around the area of the Congo River in Africa. It's pretty cool that they've actually added some of the lesser-known African swords, or at least variations of them. The Serpent God Sword looks like it's probably a bit heavy to use in actual hand-to-hand combat. However, it's a sacrificial blade, so the heaviness makes sense. And if there's some incentive to use it, like, I don't know, it's magic, then yeah, it would make sense to use, even though it's too heavy. The magma blade, design's okay, it's a curved sword. The Nox flowing sword, this one can change shape. The wing of a steel could probably cut things. If it's thin enough, then it would be really good at that. The eclipse shotel is pretty much just that same version of an African sword, except more ornate, meaning that it would be a bit heavier and less easy to use, but still looks within the realm of possibility. The dog has been sleeping on my lap this entire time.